Golf Central on YouTube, brought to you by Apex Irons from Callaway.
Welcome into our Golf Central studios. Whit Watson alongside Brandel Chambly. Round one of the Butterfield Bermuda Championship. 6 under is the number after day number 1, but Brandon Hagy needing 9 birdies to get to that number. Had a double bogey at 15 and a bogey at number 7 en route to a 65. Red hot start. Began the day at 10. 4 birdies in his first 5 holes. Hagy talking about his round afterwards.
Thank you. Joined by Brendan Hagy. Brendan, I don't know how much of the morning action you had a chance to see, but based on that, did you anticipate 5 birdies on your first 9 on your way to a 65, given the conditions?
Yeah, I mean, I was walking down the 10th fairway, our first hole, and I saw 2 under was leading. I'm like, wow, okay, it's playing difficult. I mean, I think it laid down a little bit for us, but it was still pretty stout. You know, the 8th hole, our 17th hole was pretty stiff breeze, but yeah, I mean, I hit a lot of good putts and they went in. I think that, you know, there's going to be some times where you get gusts and the ball doesn't go in, but you kind of have to keep your head down and keep trying to hit some good shots.
When you get on a run like that, again, given the conditions, what's your mindset?
My mindset was just trying to hit solid balls that stay down, and, you know, try and stay composed on the greens and just kind of keep my head down, try and put a solid strike on it. You know, you're going to get some gusts and some situations where you're going to, you know, miss a putt. Like on my 7th hole there, I had like a 2.5 footer and got gusted, you know, as I'm putting it. So, I mean, that stuff's going to happen. You just kind of have to decide, you know, before the round that everyone's dealing with it and try the best you can.
Everyone's saying Port Royal is a demanding test. There's a lot of up and down. Obviously, the win today. You're fresh from Japan. You played the Zozo Championship last week. Any lingering effects at all?
It's been okay. I mean, it was nice to go home for a day in Charlotte and just sleep in my own bed and see the family, see my baby. So I think that just kind of snapped me back into whatever time zone we were going to be in. But no, I mean, it's been a little interesting. Definitely some weird wake-ups in the middle of the night, you know, 2, 3 in the morning and try to get back to sleep. But, you know, there's a couple of the guys that are dealing with this week. But, yeah, definitely happy with the round today.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks.
And thanks to Rex Hoggard, who was on site in Bermuda. Hagy is a guy that came in well publicized, played at Cal, had a bit of a rough go, but did have a streak last season of some top 10 finishes to kind of get himself a little bit closer to the level that he thinks he should be.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people would think that or would have predicted him to have a lot of success. As you alluded to, it didn't quite work out early on. Had some injuries, tried to rebound from that. It's easy to get in some bad swings when you've got those injuries. It's nice to see him playing some good golf. As you could tell in the interview, he's a nice young man. He's got a great golf swing. He really does. I'm surprised that he doesn't hit better iron shots than he does. You know, he's got a lot of forward shaft lean. He traps it, which is good in windy conditions. I don't think it's particularly surprising that he's played some really good golf in windy conditions, most notably at Honda, where he shot 62 in the second round. I believe he shot 66 in the final round. He eventually lost by 5 to Matt Jones, but finished second. That was his best event. And, you know, he wouldn't have gotten a lot of action this week from the gambling world because this golf course favors the shorter hitters. But with the wind out there and the necessity of keeping it low, it lined up perfectly for him.
One player that a lot of the gamblers were looking at was Patrick Reed, and he had an interesting round, to say the least. There's a lot of squares. There's a double square, but there's also a double circle at number 17. Hit the ball into the penalty area, took a drop, and then holed out with a 6-iron at the par 5 to make a 3, and he would follow that with a birdie, or rather a bogey, at the 18th to shoot 68. Up and down day for P. Reed. Let's hear from him.
It was interesting. I mean, in Texas, we don't have that many drop-offs. Those tee boxes, for example, like 12, where you're, you know, it's 210 to the flag, but it plays down 15 yards and it's straight in the wind. So we don't have as much as that, but we definitely have wind, and this is a lot of wind, but it's fun. I mean, it's one of those golf courses that if they didn't have wind around here, you'd go out and you'd destroy. So I feel like they need the wind here to be kind of a defense mechanism for the golf course as well for the tournament.
What's the most creative shot you hit today based on the wind?
Based on the wind, would have had to have been 15 today. I think it was 118 flag. I hit soft 8-iron. Just kind of chipped it because it was so much in and just a hair off left. I felt like if I added any speed to it, it's just going to upshoot. And then trying to control that would be hard. So I just chipped it in there and, you know, left it in the perfect spot. Just missed the putt.
And finally, just talking through the second shot on 17.
Well, the biggest thing is I put it really in the best position. Was sitting there with 3-iron or driver, considering off the tee, and my coach and I were thinking, well, if I teed down driver, hit a little cut with the wind off the right, it would just hold it pretty straight, and overcut it in the hazard, took a drop, and we had 210 flag, 204 cover right on line, and I was thinking with how much the wind was blowing, to hit 7-iron, and KK was like, nah, he's like, downwind, because of how hard it's been blowing, the ball hasn't really been traveling into the wind's being killed. He's like, I like the 6, I think it's a perfect 6, so I went with the 6, and I flushed it and, went in.
A little bit of wind is fun. Lots and lots of wind, not that much fun. But Reed certainly seems to be enjoying himself and, talked about some of the creative shots he had to play in round 1.
Look, I mean, he's a phenomenal scrambler. The guy can find controversy pretty much anywhere. But when it comes to golf, he gets out there and plays with a clear head. He really does. It amazes me. There's an inordinate amount of controversy that sort of follows him around. But once he gets on the golf course, it's like, this guy just plays some beautiful golf. And I really enjoy watching him play. I mean, he hits shots. He's always trying to work the ball. He's always trying to take it upstairs or downstairs. But when he gets around the greens, look, I'm not going to say he's Seve-esque. Seve was in a league of his own. But, you're watching him do something extraordinary when he's around the greens. He chipped in today at the 14th hole, and then the shot that you were talking about there at the 17th. That's a bit of a bonus, but it was him creating. It was really cool.
Well, the weather early in the day was absolutely horrific, and the players that played late really got a break. This was what it was like early in the day, 40 miles an hour, raining sideways, these bands of rain that came across the island in Bermuda, and the players said it was some of the most unique weather they have ever seen on a golf course.
No, this is the hardest wind I've ever played in. You see winds like this, but normally you don't play in them. So this was comfortably the hardest wind I've ever played in, and I absolutely ripped a drive on on 7. People are going to laugh at this because they'll probably think it's my normal tee-shot anyway, but I ripped it and it went 245, and that's, I think my season average last year was like 295, so just shows you how strong it is.
We were down on the ground holding the umbrella like this. My fingers were like cramping because I was holding on for so tight, and it was pouring rain as hard as it has ever rained, so it was an interesting day. I mean, it rained, 3 or 4 times, and when it did, it was unplayable when it was raining because the wind seemed to pick up, and it was definitely an interesting day, one which I'll never forget.
There were a few shots that it was just like, I just want to hit this ball and I want to be able to see it when it stops, and if I do that, then it's a successful shot. Tough day, and I'm happy to be done, I'll say that.
2 of those 3 guys, Brandel, are from places where it blows a lot, and they looked absolutely discombobulated by what they saw in Bermuda.
They did. It was interesting to hear Matthew Fitzpatrick say it was the worst weather he's ever played. I was like, really? You're from England? I've been over there, and I think I've seen weather as bad or worse than this. And to see a Scot say it is just something extraordinary. So, again, that spoke to the crazy day, and they played in the worst of it. And the scoring average in the morning for the field was 74, right at 74, and it was right at 71 for the afternoon. So they got the worst of it. You'll see that in the Open Championship, but not usually in a PGA Tour event that big of disparity.
Interesting to see what happens on day 2. Will those conditions return, or will it be smooth sailing in Bermuda?